far as you can tell, which proposal did Hamas accept?
I'm not going to get into that, Steve.
And is the issue over how long a ceasefire would last?
Again, you're asking me for the parameters around the response and the deal itself, and I'm just not going to do that.
Lastly, Israel has called on people in Rafah to evacuate. Does that presage a full-scale assault? What are we seeing?
As I said in my opening statement, I'm not going to speak for IDF operations or their military intentions and plans. They should be the ones to answer those kinds of questions. What I can only reiterate is that we've been consistent, and the President was consistent again this morning, that we don't support ground operations in Rafah. That would put the majority or even any of the civilians there at any greater risk. We want to see their safety and security allowed for and factored in.
Noting your caveats at the top, are you able to say whether Hamas was agreeing to something that had been discussed over the last several days?
Again, without getting into the details of it, and Director Burns is still talking to partners about this, there have been ongoing negotiations and talks here for weeks, and the director traveled recently to see if we can't bring this thing home. And again, without speaking about the details of the response by Hamas, I think it's safe to conclude that that response came as a result or at the end of these continued discussions that Director Burns was part of.
And when do you think you'll have a better sense of what is happening? When will you get a readout from Director Burns? Later today, early tomorrow?
I don't know. The President has been briefed on the response. He's aware of where the situation, where the process is. What you're asking me is like, when are we going to get like a final,
What is the answer?
final table slap here? There's a process that has been worked in the past and will be worked this time. You get a response by Hamas. We're going to have to evaluate that. We're going to see what's in it. Certainly, the Israelis must have a chance to look at this and to evaluate it. And Director Burns, as we speak, literally as you and I are talking, are having these conversations with partners in the region. It would be great. I'm sure we'd all like to have an answer as soon as possible, but I just don't want to get ahead of that process.
And a quick follow-up on the readout. When do you expect the Kerem Shalom Crossing to reopen, or is it already reopened?
It should be open very, very soon. Prime Minister Netanyahu committed to opening it on the call this morning. So at 2:30, is it open? I don't know. But he assured the President that it would be reopened. It had been closed for several days.
And one more. Cindy McCain, the Executive Director of the World Food Program, said over the weekend that northern Gaza is in a, quote, full-fledged famine. Is that the assessment of the U.S. government as well?
The UN has not declared a famine in Gaza writ large, but I don't want to understate the degree of need here and the dire situation that so many people in Gaza are in, particularly with respect to food and water. So it is not a great situation, clearly, and that's why, again, we're working so hard to get this deal in place so we can keep that humanitarian assistance up at a higher level.